What if I told you that your reality is not shaped by effort but by identity, not by what you try but by what you repeatedly believe, not by what you chase but by what your mind has been programmed to expect? There is an invisible law operating beneath every decision, every reaction, every outcome, a law linking your inner assumptions to the life you eventually live. And here's the part most people never realize. This law works whether you understand it or not. Most people use it against themselves. They imagine failure and behave like someone who fails. They imagine rejection and walk through the world expecting to be ignored. They imagine limitation and life mirrors limitation back to them. But you're here because something inside you knows there is more. A stronger identity trying to emerge, a deeper truth pushing from within, a version of you that your old thoughts can no longer hold. For over a century, this principle has been whispered by the greatest minds, from spiritual teachers to philosophers to scientists. Your mind is not a passenger, it is the architect. It builds first internally, then materializes externally. So let me ask you, if your mind is shaping your reality, who have you been allowing yourself to be, and who do you secretly know you are meant to become? Comment now. I am rebuilding my inner world. This small act begins shifting everything from the inside out. Your mind is not just thinking, it is predicting, filtering, shaping, and deciding what becomes possible for you. Every belief you hold creates a doorway or builds a wall. Every assumption acts like a silent command, telling your subconscious what to allow and what to block. You don't see the world as it is, you see the world as your identity tells you to. If your identity says, "I am not enough," your mind will delete opportunities that contradict that belief. If your identity says, "I'm unlucky," your mind will highlight problems and hide solutions, because it wants your reality to match your internal narrative. This is why two people with the same background, same city, same resources end up living completely different lives. The difference is not intelligence, nor talent, nor luck. It's the inner story, the invisible instructions being repeated every single day. So ask yourself, what story has been running your life without your permission? You don't repeat patterns because you're weak. You repeat them because your mind believes they are safer than the unknown. Even if those patterns hurt you, stress you, or keep you small, your brain prefers familiar pain over unpredictable possibility. This is why you go back to the same emotions, the same reactions, the same fears, even when you promised yourself you wouldn't. Your mind is not trying to sabotage you, it is trying to protect you based on outdated information, based on moments that shaped you long before you understood what was happening when you were ignored. Your mind learned my voice doesn't matter. When you were rejected, your mind learned I'm not enough. When you were hurt, your mind learned I must stay small to stay safe. And those lessons, it became your automatic identity. But here's the truth. Your past does not define you. Your past only programmed you. And anything that was programmed can be reprogrammed. Every transformation begins with one moment. The moment you stop blaming circumstances and start observing your own mind. Not judging, not fighting, just witnessing and finally seeing the pattern for what it is. Awareness is the first crack, the opening, the place where the old identity begins to lose its power. Because when you see the pattern, you stop being the pattern, and in that instant, you become someone new, not fully transformed, not fully healed, but finally awake. From this point on, your life stops repeating and begins expanding. Everything starts with this decision. I will no longer live as the person my past created. This single sentence shifts the axis of your inner world. There is a discipline most people never learn, not in school, not at home, not in any job. The discipline of inner command, the ability to choose your thoughts before your thoughts choose your day. People think discipline is about routines, waking up early, working harder, pushing through the tiredness. But the deepest discipline is mental. It is the discipline of not believing every thought that appears. The discipline of speaking to yourself with authority instead of letting fear narrate your life. Inner command is simple, not easy, but simple. It means choosing identity before reality, choosing intention before emotion, choosing intention before circumstance. Most people react to life. You will learn to direct it. Most people get pulled by their mind. You will learn to guide it. Most people live from their past. You will learn to live from your future. This is the discipline that turns an ordinary life into an intentional one. Every transformation has a breaking point, a moment the old mind cannot continue the same way. It doesn't come with fireworks. It doesn't come with applause. It comes quietly as a realization, a clarity, a shift inside your identity. You suddenly notice the thought that has been ruling your life, the fear that keeps returning, the belief that never belonged to you. And in that moment, the pattern loses power. Awareness is the knife that cuts the old identity, because what you can see you no longer obey. When you notice the doubt, it begins to fade. When you notice the fear, it begins to shrink. When you notice the old identity, it begins to dissolve. This is the moment your mind stops repeating the past and starts creating the future. Identity is not fixed, it is practiced, repeated, embodied until the world has no choice but to adjust around it. You do not become confident by waiting. You become confident by acting as the version of you who already is. You do not become disciplined by forcing. You become disciplined by imagining yourself as someone who keeps promises and living according to that image. You do not become powerful by trying. You become powerful by choosing a higher identity and refusing to return to the smaller one. Every action you take, every decision, every moment of awareness is a vote for who you are becoming. A vote for your new future identity is not a dream. It is a practice, and every practice rewires the mind. Your mind learns through repetition, not intention, not motivation, repetition. Whatever you repeat, your brain wires as truth, even if it was never true to begin with. If you repeat fear, you become fearful. If you repeat doubt, you become hesitant. If you repeat limitation, your life becomes smaller than your potential. But the same law works in your favor. If you repeat strength, you become stronger. If you repeat discipline, you become consistent. If you repeat worthiness, you begin attracting experiences that match your new identity. Every repeated thought is a command, telling your subconscious what role you are playing in this world. And the subconscious does not argue, it obeys. So choose wisely, because repetition is the architect of identity. Every person lives with an inner voice, a voice that speaks before you speak, judges before you act, and decides your destiny long before you realize it. Most people let this voice run wild, echoing old wounds, old fears, old failures, as if they were still happening today. Your inner voice is the narrator of your reality, and if you don't choose its tone, it will choose one based on your past, not your potential. So listen carefully. What does your inner voice say when no one is watching? Does it lift you or limit you? Does it speak as a creator or as a prisoner? You cannot rise higher than the voice inside you. So reprogramming this voice is not optional, it is essential. Begin speaking to yourself as someone worth listening to, because your inner voice is the blueprint of your future. Most people live in reaction, reacting to emotions, reacting to fears, reacting to circumstances, reacting to old identities, as if life is happening to them instead of through them. But the moment you shift from reaction to creation, everything changes. Your mind stops being a mirror and becomes a tool, a builder, a designer of possibility. You start choosing your state instead of inheriting it. You start choosing your direction instead of drifting. You start choosing your identity instead of repeating your past. Creation is not magic, it is ownership, taking responsibility for the inner world that produces the outer one. When you live in creation, you don't chase, you attract. You don't beg, you align. You don't shrink, you expand. This is the turning point where ordinary life ends and intentional life begins. Your external world changes only after your internal environment changes. Your habits, your relationships, your opportunities, your emotional reactions, all of them respond to the identity you hold within. If your inner environment is chaotic, your outer world will show chaos. If your inner environment is fearful, your outer world will reflect limitation. If your inner environment is small, life will shrink around you. But when your inner world becomes stable, life stabilizes. When your inner world expands, life expands. When your inner world strengthens, life bends in your favor. People try to change their lives while carrying the same inner environment that created the problem. But nothing outside you can grow beyond what's inside you. So before you try to fix your life, upgrade your inner world, because your identity is the climate of your destiny. Every day you feed one of two identities, the old one built from fear, wounds, and survival, or the new one built from intention, clarity, and inner strength. The old identity wants comfort, predictability, familiarity, even if it hurts, because it knows how to survive there. The new identity wants growth, risk, expansion, and alignment, because it knows who you are becoming, not who you were. Every small choice is a meal, feeding one identity or starving the other. When you choose discipline, you feed the new identity. When you choose courage, you feed the new identity. When you choose honesty with yourself, you feed the new identity. Your future is not shaped by big moments, but by the identity you feed every single day. Inside your mind there is a gatekeeper, the subconscious identity, and it only allows into your life what matches the story you believe about yourself. If you believe I am unworthy, the gatekeeper will block abundance. If you believe I am invisible, it will block connection. If you believe I am powerless, it will block opportunity. Not because those things are unavailable, but because your identity filters them out before you even see them. The subconscious does not ask, is this good for me? It asks, does this match who I believe I am? And if the answer is no, the gatekeeper closes the door. But when you change the identity, the gatekeeper changes the rules. Suddenly, the doors that were closed begin to open. The paths that were hidden begin to appear. The opportunities you never saw start showing up. Your life doesn't transform because life changes. Your life transforms because your identity finally allows it. Most people live inside silent limitations, not because life is small, but because their identity only allows them to see what aligns with their old story. Limitation is not a wall, it is a filter, a narrowing of perception, a shrinking of imagination, a quiet tightening of what you believe is possible. But possibility is always there, waiting, pulsing, existing just outside the edges of your current identity. The moment you question the limitation, it begins to crumble. The moment you stop accepting it, it loses authority. The moment you choose possibility, your mind expands and new outcomes become available. Possibility is not a miracle, it is identity without the chains of the past. The person you want to become is calling you, not through motivation, not through pressure, but through alignment. Your future self is not distant, it is already formed, waiting for you to step into it, waiting for you to match its beliefs, its standards, its habits, its emotional strength. Every day you delay, your old identity grows stronger. Every day you choose alignment, your future self steps closer. Commitment is not a feeling, it is a decision to stop negotiating with a version of yourself that keeps you stuck. Commitment means acting now as the person you intend to become, not as the person you've been, because your future self can only appear when you stop abandoning it. Your life expands only to the level of belief you are willing to hold. Belief is the soil, the foundation, the energetic blueprint of everything you experience. If your belief is small, your opportunities shrink. If your belief is wounded, your relationships suffer. If your belief is fearful, your choices become safe, predictable, restricted. But when belief expands, everything expands with it. Your confidence, your clarity, your courage, your direction, your destiny. Belief is not pretending, it is choosing to align with a version of you that already exists inside. The version that has been waiting for years to be recognized. Expanding belief is expanding identity, and expanding identity is expanding possibility. There is a moment, subtle, quiet, almost invisible, when reality begins to respond to the identity you've been building. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens in ripples, small confirmations, unexpected clarity, doors that were closed beginning to open. You speak differently, you walk differently, you choose differently. Not because you are forcing change, but because you are no longer the person who accepts the old life. Your energy shifts, your standards rise, your boundaries strengthen, and the world adjusts. Because the world always adjusts to the identity you embody. People feel the difference, opportunities feel the difference, your future feels the difference. Life is not rewarding you, life is matching you, matching the new identity you finally decided to live. This is the moment. Your inner world and outer world align. Your reality will not ask permission to change, it will obey the identity you commit to. Not someday, not when you feel ready, but the moment you decide who you are going to be, and refuse to negotiate with the old version. Every future is available, but only one future matches the identity you choose today. So choose the version of you that walks with clarity, that speaks with strength, that acts with intention, that honors the life you are meant to live. Your mind is creating your reality, and now, you finally know how to guide it, how to shape it, how to direct it from the inside out. This is your turning point, your awakening, your return to yourself. If this message reached you, comment below. I choose my new identity. Let the world see who you are becoming, and remember, your life expands the moment you do.